Hello, my friends. This is Bishop Hannah Felt once again reflecting with you in this Lenten season on the 7 deadly sins and their remedy. And in a particular way this week, I'd like to look at the sin of greed and its remedy, the virtues especially of generosity and gratitude. But if you think about greed in a simple way, it's the insatiable desire for more. It's almost that like having more for its own sake. Excessive desire for wealth, for possessions, for comforts. And this can, in a sense, get out of hand, you might say, in our own hearts as we become more and more fixated, you might say, on this more. We see things then in this world in a distorted sense, that is, as being more precious than they are. We begin to see things in this world as more precious than the things of heaven, good things the Lord holds out to us in eternal life. And we don't even concern ourselves with eternal life because we have such a fixed pursuit of things in this world. Greed is really, it's a lie. Because only God can satisfy us fully. And yet greed tries to find that satisfaction that we can only have in God here in this world and in the things of this world. Greed therefore crushes generosity, and crushes it in the sense because I can't give up anything, I only want more. And so it's very self-centered and not other-centered. Greed in its regard is a tendency to want more for its own sake, and thereby I can't really even perceive the needs of those around me. The remedy, as we can see then, is certainly that of generosity. Generosity, in a sense, is a passion for the well-being of others, that I'm even willing to sacrifice myself for the good of others. This virtue is what really begins to turn greed around, because we begin, as we had with pride, a gratitude for all that we have, and that gratitude leads us to want to make a difference in the minds and hearts of others. So the more we practice generosity and gratitude, the more we can undermine and make inroads into this easily enough acquired need to have more, this sin of greed. Gratitude causes joy in our hearts, especially. It permeates our entire life. Joy opens up in our hearts, then this desire to share the joy of my life with others. And there's a certain sadness that comes in greed because I'm always working at having more, keeping more, getting more, obtaining more. So you can see how joy begins to flourish when we finally think of someone other than ourselves. And as gratitude and generosity flourish, it curbs that desire in our hearts. True charity, then, is a genuine concern for the good of others. And that sometimes is also squelched by this sin of gratitude. Concern for others causes us to be generous when we see their needs, their plight, their condition. And there's a certain satisfaction that grows in our hearts when we begin to put our lives at the service of others to make a difference for them. As the scriptures say, it is better to give than to receive. And by that giving, we recognize what joy that really causes in us. How is gratitude expressed in your own life? In what ways do you show the Lord that virtue for all that He has done for you? How is it that in generosity you're making a difference for others? This week during the Lenten season, we might really face greed head on in our own lives, knowing those ways in which we do tend to be focused on that. Sometimes it might be money itself. Sometimes it might be things, the possessions that we really want, still need to get, we think, or hang on to. And sometimes it just might be comfort. There's nothing wrong with my couch. I just want a different couch. I want to update for the sake of updating. Again, we have to look in our hearts and say, what is the motivation here? And really ask the Lord to show that to us, to reveal ourselves to us, so that what we notice we might understand in the proper context. Again, as I said, Lent is about fixing ourselves, overcoming some fault. It really is about seeing how these sins tend to obstruct our relationship with the Lord, which is a relationship of love that He wants us to receive. So some of the ways in which then we realize that gratitude might simply be through habits of generosity, words of thanks, notes and cards of thanks, ways in which we express gratitude in our hearts. It might be also just in terms of material things. Are we tithing? Are we stingy instead with giving to other causes, charities, and groups around us that have needs? And do we have a certain detachment from the things of this world so as not to let those things overshadow the good things the Lord wants us to do with our possessions? As this week continues, we might, in this Lenten season, ask the Lord then for the grace of a generous heart to overcome any tendency to or pattern of greed in our life, with great confidence that as we ask the Lord for that grace, He will give it to us and He will continue to heal us of this particular sin.